Good morning. It is Friday and we are live. Man, we made it through another week. I'm telling you, I am pumped up. I am excited. I've been reading this morning about what's going on. I love when you start start peeling the layers of oranges away, and you're looking at a topic and it just opens itself up to you, and you get a real sense of where something is going. I mean, firm in your hands, you can hold on to it. You know what's going to happen next. It's not always good news. It's not always good news. Today's isn't good news. I'm going to tell you, it's not. This situation in Iran is, you're just going to have to stick with me. I'm going to explain it all. But before we do, there's something I want to address. In the last show we did, I lost my shit. I did. I lost my temper. And it was a reaction to a comment about James Tallarico. I had been up almost all night the night before. If you look at me the way I looked then and the way I look now, you'll notice I don't have near the bags, I'd been up the night before. Because the bots had gone insane after that race was called for James Tallarico. They really just were, and I'm not going to go into all the messaging and whatnot. And some people that were very rightly so with the Crockett campaign were very upset and echoing a lot of, these attacks that were coming from the bots. Jasmine Crockett ended all of that with her wonderfully selfless call for us all to come together. And I tell you, it shames me. It really does shame me. Because as our community grows, as we grow, as we change, everything I just told you about why I lost my temper was nothing but a bullshit excuse. The bottom line is this: we are growing, we are getting better, our community is growing, we're more effective. Look at what has happened after this last election. Look at what's going on with the populist attacks on. They call themselves I don't know why they call themselves progressives. They're not progressives. Progressives believe in expertise. Populists are grassroots people. They're populists. They're not progressives, but they constantly attack the Democratic. Look at how well we're handling those. We are growing. You're growing. And I damn well better too. I need to get better. I know it's entertaining when I lose my temper. I do. And it is just me. It is who I am. If you go back and you look, what you see is what you get with me. I mean, I really get mad about things. This is not performative, but I have to get better. And I apologize. That was unappealing. It was not enjoyable for anyone. And it damn sure wasn't the right thing to do. And I do apologize. And I don't even know who I was yelling at, because I intentionally didn't go back and get their name. But if you're hearing this, if you're here today, know that this apology is meant for you, as well as the rest of the audience. But we've got a lot going on. We do. So let's dig into it. Let's get to work. Morning. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. I hope you're having a good cup of coffee today because we got a lot to talk about. And since we are an audience-driven show, roundtable show, we got three main topics today, and you get to be the coordinator. You get to be the person that is making the choices. We've got Iran to talk about. That's going to be a fairly long segment. There's several angles to cut at that. We've got Christy Noem. We have Pam Bondi and Epstein. Which way do y'all want to go first? Y'all choose. Y'all choose. You are the producers today. I am the performer. Let's see it in the comments. Which way do you want to go? Iran, Noem, or Epstein? Y'all choose it. Iran, Bondi, Noem, Christy Noem. Man, y'all are splitting this vote up. Y'all aren't going to make it easy, are you? Iran wins. Okay, let's talk about Iran first. Who's winning the Iran conflict, the Iran war? Who's winning? And I'll give you a hint. It's not Israel. We're still talking to each other, folks. I expect to hear answers in the. Oh, I love you people. So this is why I love you people so much. You know exactly who's winning this war. And yes, runner up, definitely Turkey. But we're going to talk about this angle first. The absolute winners of the Iran war. No way you can doubt it. No way you can argue it. No way you can make any other deduction out of this. The winners are absolutely Vladimir Putin and Xi. They are absolutely winning this conflict. Again, Donald Trump has handed our greatest geopolitical adversaries monstrously large wins. You need to take note of this. Our folks from Europe, you need to take note. You are not being helped in this situation at all. Swing and a miss. Glad to see this one. Swing and a miss. Modi. We're going to talk about Narendra Modi. This is why they are winning. We're going to dig into it. I want you to take a look at this first. This is an exchange that just happened on NBC with the Iranian foreign minister.
Right now, you're saying Iran does not want a ceasefire.
We are not asking for a ceasefire. And we don't see any reason why we should negotiate with the US when we negotiated with them twice, and every time they attacked us at the middle of negotiations. So there is no request for a ceasefire by us, and there is no request for the negotiation with the US from us. We have never sent any messages to them.
That, my friends, is Abbas Araghchi. Boy, did I whiff that one. Abbas Araghchi. He's the Iranian foreign minister. And he is saying in no uncertain terms that they're not negotiating with Trump. They're not. Trump's word is worthless. They're not asking for a ceasefire, even though they're taking a beating, folks. They are taking a beating. They've got no desire to end this. None whatsoever. Because they know long term, they're going to come out ahead on this. They know they are. Israel, let me just get Israel off the table and out of the way. Israel is screwed. Netanyahu has absolutely 100% Israel, you in danger, girl. All of you on the left, I've said it before in Israel. If you don't do something about Benjamin Netanyahu in this October's elections, you will deserve what happens. You will deserve Israel's fate. I don't know if you've heard this. This is developing. Maybe not. American news sources haven't wanted to touch this. The UK is trying to be very delicate with this because they understand the sensibilities. They understand the relationship between Trump and Trump donors like Larry Ellison, who is best friends with Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu vacations. Larry Ellison is so rich he owns his own Hawaiian island. Benjamin Netanyahu and his family's vacation there. Big Republican donors are all in this. The UK, Keir Starmer, they understand that relationship. So they're being pretty sensitive about this. But y'all understand, one of the UK's bases, their base in Cyprus, was attacked. It was hit with a Shahed drone. They have determined that was not Iran. That was not Iran. And there are a lot of people asking questions about it because that drone was fired out of Lebanon. Well, everybody's like, well, that's Hezbollah. No. That's not where the evidence is pointing. That drone was launched out of territory controlled. Y'all may have missed this because, again, the American news media is not talking about it much, but Israel has invaded Lebanon. Just like they went into Gaza, Israel has invaded Lebanon. There are troops on the ground in southern Lebanon. That drone was launched from an area controlled by the IDF. Nobody is saying that Israel launched that drone, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Similarly, the drone launched at Azerbaijan came out of the same area. Iran has no reason to be attacking Azerbaijan at all. None. This makes no sense. It is great for Israel because Israel gets a huge amount of its oil from Azerbaijan. But yeah, Israel is not coming out of this great. So let's move that off of the table and let's talk about everyone else in the region and the things that are happening. Why Iran is in no hurry whatsoever to solve this. There are multiple reasons. Somebody brought up, and again, this is not the original way I had planned to actually work through this, but you know what? You brought up Narendra Modi. This is Narendra Modi. Just to remind everyone, he is the leader of India. Narendra Modi is definitely not the winner in this situation. They import 80 to 85% of their oil, and 50 to 65% of that comes out of the Persian Gulf. This war is absolutely crippling India. Just absolutely crippling India. And India and Modi lost their shit. And again, it's not something that you're hearing out of the American press, but our international brothers and sisters can tell you about it. British press is pretty good on reporting some of this. Talk to some of the people in European members of our audience. This is actually reported in their press. Narendra Modi had a very, very heated call with the White House. Because their economy is just absolutely just collapsing. They're like, we have 1 month of this. 1 month. 30 fucking days, pardon my language. And then our economy collapses. Absolutely collapses. 100%. No way around it. So, what do you think What do you think Trump did in reaction to that? Was just looking for a comment. Somebody had pointed out that yes, India is a powder keg with this population. I love the fact that y'all understand those dynamics. Somebody said Trump's reaction was to tell him to pound sand. Oh no, no. Trump did this. You know those Russian oil sanctions from their invasion of Ukraine? Don't worry about those. Those don't apply to you anymore. You're exempt. Yep. God, I love that you people are so well informed. Yeah. When I told you Putin was winning this, bingo. How long do you think our European allies are going to put up with the fact that Qatar has completely shut down all of their LNG exports? You know what? Let's go to the map so that we understand that one a little bit better. Put a pin in this. India gets an exemption. Let's go to the map. Let me pull the map up. Pull up Qatar. Okay, this is Qatar. You see, it's just a tiny little nation. There's Bahrain, another tiny little nation. Let's back out and give you an idea where it is. Now, Qatar and Saudi Arabia really don't get along. So Qatar can't ship its LNG. Qatar is basically sitting on top of a massive natural gas field. It's a one-trick pony, man. It is a one-trick pony. You see where it's at. You see the region. Here's Riyadh. Saudi Arabia and Qatar do not get along. They do not. There will be no pipeline across Saudi Arabia for Qatari natural gas. That's not going to happen. Europe will, if Europe is going to get its liquid natural gas requirements met, it must have natural gas from Qatar, and that must go through from the Persian Gulf through the Straits of Hormuz, which are shut down right now. Qatar's entire natural gas exports over. They are shut down. That is spiking energy prices in Europe. Again, another reason why Iran's in no hurry. In no hurry whatsoever. Folks, you're just gonna okay. How long do you think Europe, who used to buy cheap oil and cheap natural gas from Russia, are going to sit on the sidelines and watch their energy prices soaring, absolutely soaring, while India gets a pass? Oh no. Russian sanctions just collapsed. They did. Can you blame our friends in Europe? Why on earth would they continue? Why would they continue to participate in sanctions on Russia when China is exempt? China doesn't care. They've never cared. They're like, do whatever you want. We're buying oil from Russia. We don't care. I'm going to explain to you in just a second why they don't care. You see where I'm going with this? If Iran toughs it out, the distance between the U.S. and Europe, the gulf between them, just widens and widens and widens. All they have to do is hang tough. They don't have to win this. They don't have to win this at all. You've got this going on. You've got this going on. Dubai billionaire Khalaf al-Abtur released a statement, went around his government. He's not part of the government. He is not from one of the ruling families. But no, he just absolutely released a statement directed directly at Donald Trump and said, "Who the hell do you think you are? Who the hell do you think you are? Starting this conflict, screwing our economies, screwing our relationships. Who the hell do you think you are? Coming into our region and blowing things up, blowing relations up, blowing businesses up." And man, I tell you what, that sentiment is not lost. And it's becoming policy. It's becoming policy because what has happened, this has got to be the dumbest comment I've read so far. Are you a troll? I mean, I don't get it. That's got to be the dumbest comment. It is so far down the list of concern. But anyway, you be you, man. We're seeing this happen. The threats aren't just coming from India. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Qatar have all got a hold of Jared Kushner and said, "Hey, you know that money that we sent you? Yeah, that's over. I think we're going to take that back now. In fact, if you don't come to a swift conclusion, if these attacks don't end quickly, all of our investments are over." Yeah, that's really happening, folks. Is the American media reporting it? No, they're still in rah-rah, bombs bursting in air mode. But yeah, this is really happening. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, are all directly threatening Trump. We will take our money back. Why? Why would Saudi do that? I mean, MBS worked so hard to buy Trump. Why would they do that? Because this is crippling Saudi Arabia. This has gotten out of hand. Everybody does this. Everyone, the right-wing donors for the Republican Party. I mean, MAGA, every single faction of anyone you look at that has ever bet on Trump always comes to this moment. And it's really simple. He's an idiot. He's going to fail. Always, he's going to fail. And this is just the Persian Gulf version of it. They have come to the understanding that, oh shit, they did this without a plan. This is out of hand. Iran is not backing down and has no reason to. Let me bring some receipts. Let me back this up. Let me just back this up, okay? Let me just back this up. This is why China doesn't care how long and will not pressure Iran to the table. This is ESPO, the East Siberia Pacific Ocean Oil Pipeline. This is ESPO. China doesn't get its oil out of the Persian Gulf. China does. Look, this is let's go to the map one more time. This is Nakotka, Russia. This is where the pipeline ends. This is where the pipeline ends. And you see this down here, Kazmino. This is the Nakotka is kind of a weird town. It's split up over 3 areas. Some of these port towns can look like this. But everything you see here in red is Nakotka. And this is Kazmino. Kazmino is the commercial port. So not only does China get it in multiple places from the ESPO pipeline, there are diversions that go directly into China's industrial cities. They also have Kazmino here, which is one of the largest ports for oil exports. It's literally, there could be a hurricane in this area. There could be a typhoon, and it is such a short trip in protected waters. I mean, you see the distance here. This is China. This is Russia. This little horn right here is Russia. It is literally this short of a trip. North Korea, they don't care. South Korea, they really don't care. Japan, they really don't care, except for the fact that they're playing the, oh, we can't buy oil from Russia game. All of these countries are fed out of the ESPO pipeline. Not India, though. Not India. And I will tell you, India is, they've had their come to Jesus moment. They're having none of this. Are you seeing where the pressure's going? There's no pressure on Iran to end this, but there's tons of pressure on Trump to end this. But, you know, Trump's going to lose face. Trump's going to lose face. And he doesn't want to ever lose face because he's a child. Here's another pipeline. You know, they're massive. We've talked about the massive, when we talked about the Ukraine-Russia conflict, that Ukraine had actually reached the Caspian Sea with drones and were hitting platforms on the Caspian Sea. And we talked about the massive oil fields in the northern Caspian regions. You know, we talked about World War II, how different it would have been if instead of Hitler trying to act like he's a freaking military genius, that he had actually listened to his generals. His generals wanted to push south to the Caspian Sea. They wanted to push south to the Caspian Sea. He said, no, go fight in Stalingrad. We remember those episodes? Remember those? Well, here you go. Here you go. China was smart enough to read a history book. China helped fund a pipeline that runs from the Caspian Sea, the northern Caspian Sea, through Kazakhstan into northern China. They are not at all troubled by what's going on in the Persian Gulf. At all. She, once again, looks like the grown-up in the room. %100%. The imbecilic behavior of the Trump regime. These people are not intelligent. They are not, they don't listen to experts. They do whatever the hell they want to do. In this case, they followed Benjamin Netanyahu down through a fool's errand. Through a fool's errand. And they didn't even understand that Netanyahu was destroying himself with this. And they know it's falling apart. And I'll give you a great example of how they know it's falling apart. After that, we're going to read some comments. I got the email about the not liking me to read the comments. If folks are going to go to the trouble to support the show, to put a comment out there, I'm going to read it. That's just part of the show. You're going to have to bear with it. I understand you don't particularly like it. I get it. I happen to like what the people in the show have to say. Most people do. So we're going to continue to read comments aloud. We're going to do that. The only time I don't do that is when we have a guest invited and I don't want to interrupt the guest. That's the only time we're not going to read comments. But yeah, this is how they know it's falling apart. This is how it started. You had Vance coming out and saying, his whole shtick before this happened, his whole shtick was, oh man, no foreign wars. Remember what they were selling? Oh, we gotta protect the children. We have to get the Epstein files out and no more foreign wars. That was Vance's selling point. That's what he told all the donors. That's what he told MAGA. That's the only reason they tolerated his awkward ass, is because he could make those statements. Well, Vance is in full freakout mode because the New York Times has reporting from a person that was in the room during the discussions about whether or not they should do this. And turns out Vance is a liar. Vance isn't we can have no foreign wars. No, Vance said, go big and hit them hard, which has Vance absolutely in panic mode. Absolutely in panic mode. You notice he disappeared when they attacked Venezuela. Vance fell off the face of the planet because it broke his brand. The war in Iran, Vance vanished. You couldn't find him on camera anywhere until the New York Times broke this story. And then all of a sudden, Vance shows up all over social media, clips on Fox News, trying to put this shit back in the horse. That's not what I said. I said I didn't want it to happen, but if it was going to happen, we had to do it right. For the troops, we had to do it right. Yeah. You want to know how shit has fallen apart? And they know it's fallen apart? Trump said, No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Nobody had to sell you on this shit. You were the one saying, yeah, we need to do this. In fact, the reporting that's coming out, the one guy in the room that had reservations was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dan King. He was the only person in the room that had any reservation whatsoever, in which he told Trump, if we do this, you're going to see a lot of American casualties. You need to be aware of that. So yeah, Vance tried to crawl out from under the bus, said, this wasn't me. I didn't plan this. I didn't want to do this. And Trump said, bullshit, get back under here you get your ass back under this bus with the rest of us. So yeah, politically, the wheels have come off this. Iran has no reason and no intentions to stop this. They're not going to. The Gulf states have already said enough. Saudi Arabia has started to sell this to their population. They are publicly, Mohammed bin Salman is making public statements to his own people that are saying the U.S. betrayed us for Israel. They promised us that they wouldn't allow this to happen, but they're doing it for Netanyahu. Look what happened to our oil refinery. That's really happening. Private conversations, Narendra Modi is like, fuck you. Reality has hit home. And Russian sanctions, over. Because they're imbeciles. They're imbeciles. There isn't a smart one in the bunch. Nowhere is there is not a smart one in the bunch. And finally, Russian, or I should say Republican donors have started to figure this out. MAGA has started to figure this out. This is what's going on with the Dow right now. They figured out that in the last 5 days, the Dow's lost over 15 points. Or pardon me, 1,500 points. And it's going to continue to drop. And this is why I have some figures here from before the show. From before the show, 1 second. This is what's going on with oil prices. And before we get into the oil prices, I want to remind everybody. Just a few weeks ago, we did a show. Do you remember oil prices were so low? And I was telling you, we're swimming in oil. I mean, we were drowning in oil. They were storing oil in tankers so that they wouldn't be counted in the system because prices were falling so far. And we talked about what the repercussions of that are, what the floor is for oil prices, and when the American oil industry begins to collapse. We were literally at that point. You remember that? Yeah, this was just before the show. This is West Texas Intermediate crude just before the show. $90 a barrel. $90 a barrel. By the way, from when I started to set up the show to just before the show, it had climbed from $80 a barrel to $90, all the way up to $80 a barrel to $90 a barrel. This is Brent just before the show. $92 a barrel. Folks, one of the only things this economy had going for it was plenty of oil. I mean, that was one of the only things that it had going for it was plenty of oil. Low oil prices. Diesel was cheap. Diesel was cheap. Not anymore. Not anymore. That's over. All of those reserves, we're going to burn through those in the next month or two. And everybody knows it. And particularly Iran, pardon me. I'm not going to get those emails again. Good Lord, do not call Iran. Whew. I'm sorry. My hillbilly ass will be better. Good Lord, man. And I read your emails, man. Iran. So yeah, This is really happening. We have all of the problems, the fundamental problems, because of the tariffs and the stupid economic policy from the Trump regime in place already. One of the bright spots in this was we had oil, tons of it from the Biden administration, just tons of it. How did we get so much oil? Well, remember COVID inflation? We talked about how that happened. Everything opened up, but the factories couldn't catch up. So we had massive inflation. So we had to choke the economy to get that inflation under control. While we were choking the economy, we weren't needing all the oil we were producing. So we built up reserves, and oil prices just kept falling and falling and falling. Then here comes Trump. And instead of just doing nothing, inflation was back under control. All they had to do was just untighten the grip on the economy a little bit. No, here comes stupid tariffs. Tariffs are my favorite word. And he kicked the global economy in the balls. So we had a glut of oil to begin with that just got super exacerbated because of Trump's stupidity. Well, here comes the war in Iran, and that's over. That's over. And folks, this is how it works. Your gasoline prices don't wait for that oil to make its way into the system. No, these are oil futures. These contracts, that oil isn't going to make it to the refineries and from the refineries to your gas pump for weeks, for several weeks. So you would think naturally, okay, well, the price of my gas won't change for several weeks. Oh, no, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Gas prices are spiking. So now, and this is why Iran is not in a hurry to end this. This is another, I told you, there are several reasons why Iran is just like, we'll just tough it out. Your energy prices, your electric bill. Iran's not isolated from the world. They know what's going on here in the United States. They know about these data centers. They know that they're driving up your your electric bills. And Mr. Global did a great job of explaining this. You should go take a look at what he's talking about transmission capacity and why your bills are going to be so expensive. It doesn't matter that you're not using more electricity. It matters how much capacity we have. When the way they control the amount of electricity that flows through our transmission lines, it's a supply and demand thing. When demand is higher than our transmission lines can deliver, the way they control that is they raise the price it costs to push that electricity through those transmission lines, which means your bills go up and you use less. That's capitalism. That's just capitalism. You shut off your air conditioner. You shut off your heater. You scream at your kids about turn them lights off. That's the way it works, man. Capitalism. We didn't build the transmission infrastructure. The big lines that you see, like when you take a drive and then all of a sudden all the trees go away and there's this like straight no man's land of nothing but grass with massive towers that are holding big power lines. Those are the transmission lines. And yes, they do have limits. So they built these data centers before they built more of those transmission lines. And we don't have the power generation because, get this, we've talked about it before, while we're doing this conversion over to an AI economy, and we know we're going to need massive amounts of electricity, Trump doesn't like windmills. He doesn't like windmills. So they took away all the subsidies for people to build, to put solar panels on their roofs. For investors, small investors were buying windmills, man. They were buying windmills. Not all of these windmills are owned by big corporations. No, you had smaller investors buying these windmills, these wind turbines. They ended all of the subsidies for that right at a time when we needed much more power generation capability. They did just the opposite of what they needed to do. So we don't have the transmission capability. And I'm going to tie this back to Iran in just a second. We don't have the generation capability we need. We don't have the transmission infrastructure to do this conversion over to an AI economy. What does that result in? Super high bills for everybody. Because capitalism, man, when the transmission lines get maxed out, you raise the prices, you, the consumer, see your bills go up, right? Well, Iran is looking at this. They know what would happen if the price of natural gas got really expensive right in the middle of all this. Let's throw a few shaheeds at Qatar. Let's disrupt the global supply of natural gas. Because remember, Cletus may not understand that just because we're pulling natural gas out of the ground here doesn't really matter. If they have a shortage in Europe, it drives up the price. So what do? Instead of selling it here, they put it on a ship and send it to Europe because they're paying more for it. Capitalism. That's how that works. Iran knows this. This isn't, this isn't high-minded economics. It's really simple. I mean, you understand how gas pumps work. When you get to the gas pump, if there's a lot of gas and not too many people buying it, your gas is cheap. When you get to the gas pump and a lot of people are buying it and there isn't that much available, you pay a lot for your gas. This isn't hard, but it is beyond the Trump regime. Yep, exactly. A huge portion of your food prices is a truck hauling it. Transportation is a huge portion of your food prices. Cattle has to move from the farms and ranches to the feedlots. Truck does that. Then it has to move from the feedlots to the slaughterhouses. A truck does that. Sometimes rail, but usually a truck. Then when they process it, it's got to go from the processing center to the distribution facility, the big distributor, the middleman, before it gets to your grocery store. A truck does that. Then it goes from there to your grocery store. A truck does that. Then you go and buy it. Your car, you pay for fuel there. A huge portion of your food. I know, right? Lazy cows, you think they'd walk on their own. I love you people so much. I do. Do you get where I'm going? All of the pressure is on the Trump regime. Iran doesn't care. And they don't trust Trump. Why would they negotiate with him? And Benjamin Netanyahu he may have just ended Israel. So what does this mean on the grand scale of things? What does this mean tomorrow? Well, I will tell you, your social media is flooded with videos of pissed off white guys that look like me ripping their Trump bumper stickers off of their cars. Now, don't get me wrong. Their self-identity is being Republican. They're not becoming liberals. They're not. Their whole sentiment in all these videos are they're right. Their way of doing things is right. Their point of view and what they want to see happen is right. It's just Trump lied to them, isn't doing what they want done. All they wanted was pedophiles in jail and no foreign wars and cheap gasoline. And Trump isn't doing that. Folks, I keep hearing people telling me, boy, those Democrats better come up with a message. They better come up with something beyond more than we're not the Republicans. They better come up with a vision of leadership. And then I keep saying, shut the hell up. Shut the fuck up. All of this is going on, and what you think should happen, you political neophyte dumbass, is that the Democrats should stand up and say, let me tell you about my policies. Pay attention to me and what you may not like about what I'm going to do. Fuck you. The Democrats need to do this. Oh, by the way, look at those assholes. That's what needs to happen. That is what needs to happen. But yeah, Iran is in no hurry to watch this end, because while they're taking a beating, anybody with a brain is saying they're going to win this. They're going to win this. And you know, the absolute tragedy about that is this has just ended the revolution. It's going to re-solidify the regime in Iran. And you want to know why? This is how stupid these people are. You may have seen Trump saying, oh, our Kurdish allies, they need to, which we have no Kurdish allies because Trump keeps fucking them. But I promise you, I'll give you all the arms that you want and all the air cover you need. Go attack Iran. No general, no anybody with any military sense whatsoever is suggesting it is a good idea to get into a ground war in Iran. Just the terrain. Tehran is packed up into mountains. If you go take a look at what happened in northern Italy, mountain warfare is awful. I mean, it is just, and then this happened. This happened. His call to the Kurds did not fall on deaf ears. Remember, the Kurds are not a monolith. They aren't. The Kurds that are in Syria are not the same Kurds that are in northeastern Iraq. Not the same people, not the same leaders, not the same tribes, just not the same people. Let's go to the map. And even in the different regions, again, it's a very tribal situation. I mean, it just is. You have, let's take a look at Syria. This area is where the Kurds are. This is where the Kurds are. This area in Iraq, this area, this mountainous region right here on the border, northeastern Iraq, is where the Kurds are. Not the same freaking tribes, not the same freaking leaders. Not. Trump put the word out through our embassies in Iraq and said, hey, man, I promise you arms. I promise you air cover. All you got to do is attack. So they did. They did. Now, the consolidated tribes said, fuck you. We're not your mercenaries. But not all of them did. Those tribes that are vying for power and vying for favor, some of them just took it upon themselves to attack Iran. And Iran slaughtered them. Not in the news. You have to go to the mill bloggers. You've got to go to the people that are getting information directly from the ground. They took their happy asses across the Iranian border, and the Iranians were waiting for them. Then the Iranians, let's see if any of the American news media has reported on this yet. Here, I'll share what the all right, let's see what we've got. Trump calls on Kurds, yada, 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 all the rah-rah shit. Trump tells Reuters U.S. must have a role in choosing Iran. That's stupid shit. Trump calls Kurdish leaders in Iran war effort. Yeah, they're still at the, Trump thinks that he can call on the Kurds, and that's going to make it all okay. That's going to make it all okay. Let's see if we can find some foreign. Oh, the BBC, the British. Leave it to the British. Yep. British press, I'm telling you folks, much better than American press. BBC has a story on the fact that Iran has launched attacks on Kurdish various tribal headquarters in Iraq. We have reignited the Iran war. This is chaotic as shit. Again, I can't stress this to you enough. The Kurds are not a monolithic group. Some of them are like, fuck you, we're not doing this. And some of them have already taken off and had their asses handed to them in Iran. And Iran is 100% firing back across the border, attacking in Iraqi sovereign territory. That's really happening, folks, right now. But, it's okay because, Pete Hegseth's the Secretary of Defense. And I'm sure Tulsi Gabbard, our Director of National Intelligence, is on this. We do have a 22-year-old guy in charge of our anti-terrorism organizations. So yeah, I'm sure we're good, man. I'm sure we're good. I'm sure it's okay. Iran sees this. They know. They know their relationship with China is good. They know their relationship with India is better than ours. They know that this is helping Putin and Russia, and in the long term will help them re-cement their relationship with Russia. J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is still walking up to podiums talking about war fighters, war ethos. And everybody within the administration is terrified to be the one to tell these people, no, we need to get out of here. We need to stop this now. Just stop. Just pack up our shit and leave. And there's nobody in the room in this administration with the balls to do that. Nobody. So again, Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, all of the Gulf states have gotten together and said they've threatened Trump directly. You want to see any more money? You don't want to see the money we've already invested get called back? Stop this shit. And I will bet you right now, that is where Trump's mind is. Because he didn't give a shit about any of this. All he cares about is himself. His Qatari jet. He doesn't care. And Netanyahu is doing everything he can to try to expand this because he thinks it serves him. He's about to get the Trump treatment. Benjamin Netanyahu is about to get the Trump treatment because all he cares about is money. So we'll see. This next week will be very telling about who has more sway with Donald Trump. So yeah, that's what I have for you as far as Iran is concerned. I do want to go back and I want to read some of these comments. We've got Mike Daly. Good morning, brother. Markwayne Mullin, unqualified, corrupt, owned by the Trump. That's what we're going to talk about next. Proud Texas appointment of Senator Markwayne opens up a senator seat in Oklahoma for special election. Yep, we're going to talk about that. Spicy Jester, Texas Pod, just wanted to say you are amazing. You are sharing truth with us every day while we're being lied to everywhere else. Thank you for being a light in the dark places. All other lights give out. God bless. I do appreciate the support. I do. I can't go back and read all the comments. I would be reading comments for the next 10, 15 minutes. I can't. Chandler Patton for always bringing the fresh air and truth, hard as it may be at times. The truth is the truth. Amen. Amen. Tube Kurt, Netanyahu and Trump have the same goals as all autocrats, pass away of natural causes in their own bed. All else is details. Ridiculously rich, I will add. The Hen House, the ongoing Trump and Yahoo war stems from Donald's declining mental acuity. He has been manipulated by numerous individuals, both domestically and internationally, resulting in pure calamity. Yep. Welcome to all the new members. Nancy, glad to hear. Nancy Reardon, glad Glad to see you here. Thank you to all the people that have been gifting memberships. Pablo Noem, thank you for gifting memberships. It's very generous of you. Remember, you can just hit the join button down there, and there's an option. If there are guest memberships, gifted memberships available, it'll be an option for you to grab. Mr. Knudsen from our European audience, the pressure will come from the people and later the data center owners if energy prices get too high. Only positive is the Democrats will explain how to fix this and win big in the midterms. We have a historic example. You remember when we went from modems that worked over the phone lines? You remember that? To what we have now, where you can see my pretty face in 4K if you so desire, because we have the transmission capabilities in place now. Yeah, we went to a data economy. The internet exploded. We didn't have the infrastructure in place. What happened? Man, people were paying astronomical amounts of money. I remember paying $300. I was kind of a nerdy guy. I would buy equipment way back in the day, especially when I was a kid. I remember paying $300 for a modem. I'm talking last century, paying $300 for a modem. So you can imagine what that is now. We endure this. Every time there is something like this, Republicans and business leaders do not think forward. They don't. They never think, lay the infrastructure out. This will be much better. No, they never do. Everything is always astronomically expensive every time we have one of these evolutions in our economy, because they never, Republicans and their donors never think about the people, ever. It's just the way it works. It's just the way it works. ET truckers in West Texas are paying $200 to $300 more for Phillips. Yeah, and they're pissed. They're pissed. But yeah, I mean, Mr. Knudsen, I appreciate that comment. I understand what you're saying, but it always works this way. We always get screwed. Lori Yates, the only president that does better when he's not involved. No shit. If Donald Trump had won the selection and just gone into the White House and grifted money and not done a damn thing, we would all be better off. We would all be better off, including him. Deborah, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. Mr. Knudsen again, Norwegian headline about Trump's war. This is so ignorant, dangerous, and stupid. I'm telling you, foreign press is so much better than ours. Michael Eden, thank you for being here. Thanks for love to see the support, brother. Thank you. Donald J. Trump has provided the world a showcase to observe and record how he has achieved his legacy of business failures marked by mismanagement, stupidity, lack of process, and that's a huge one right there, lack of process. He governs that way also, and failure to adhere to moral and ethical principles. Yep. Bill, good to see you, brother. Always here. New West Bill, good to see you. Glenn, so generous of you. I'm truly grateful. Thank you, my man. Thank you. But yeah, people are talking about Markwayne Mullin. If you don't know, if you haven't heard, Christy Noem is a bird-legged hoe. No, she's out of a job. She's out of her job. She is out of her job. She's fired. Wouldn't you know that the first person to actually get fired would, well, actually, that's not true. Waltz got fired. That was a guy. I was about to say something that was inaccurate. Accuracy is important. But yeah, Christy Noem gets fired. She got fired if you weren't paying it. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Following these hearings is something else. And I will tell you this, you would be proud if you do get a chance to watch these congressional hearings. You would be proud of your Democrats. They were tearing her ass up over the last couple of days in hearings. They were just beating the tar out of her, but the straw that broke the camel's back was the contract. Remember I told you she's not running DHS. She's not. Everybody that has speed dial that needs to do any business with DHS, their speed dial isn't Kristi Noem, it's Corey Lewandowski. Because, you know, she's dumb as a box of hair. And this is a modeling gig for her. She's taking our money. She's using it for travel and modeling. She was never pretty enough as a young person to model. So she's living her dream. And the way she did it was she took 200 million of our dollars, set up a no bid contract to make commercials that she stars in. You know, I'm going to sit on a horse and aren't I beautiful? No shit. She really did that. She bought herself a modeling gig for $200 million. Democrats, Joe Neguse just, oh my God, just, pah. I mean, I was 3/4 the way through his questioning, man. Even I was screaming at the screen, get off of her, man, get off of her. I mean, it was, if you don't want to watch any of it, do a search on your social media about Joe Neguse, Neguse. Do Neguse Noem and see what comes up. That questioning was brutal. He pointed out the fact that the company that was awarded this no bid contract doesn't have a website, doesn't have a headquarters. Nobody knows anything about it. Got her to admit under oath that this company was created 8 days before the contract was awarded. And anybody that knows about government contracting knows that is shady as fuck. There's a whole process involved. 8 days before this contract is handed out, a company gets incorporated. They get the no bid contract. It's out of a house. Lo and behold, the house belongs to the husband of Christy Noem's good, some say best friend. No shit. No shit. They took $200 million and she admitted it all under oath and cluelessly asked the question, is there a problem with this contract? Is there a problem with this contract that I gave my best friend that has no experience whatsoever in making commercials, that I gave her $200 million? Aren't I pretty? To make a commercial? $500 million. And she admitted it all. Even Trump watched that and said, what the fuck? And then she was fired. Some people are saying she was fired because Trump didn't get his cut, but yeah. No, she was fired because what Trump wants is for people to act like Bondi, to just insult people, to scream, to get mad, to say Trump's the greatest president to ever live. Don't you know that, you Democrat demon? That's what somebody's supposed to do in a congressional hearing, according to Trump. And Christy Noem answered questions, and she answered them truthfully, which was a disaster. So she's out of a job. That's why she's out of a job. She's no longer the head of DHS. She was never the head of DHS. She just, like I said, Corey Lewandowski did it, but no. So we have an opportunity, right? We have an opportunity. Trump could put somebody over DHS with half a brain, and he would do So much better. Republicans would be so much more competitive in the midterms. This is a chance to pivot to some level of expertise, to tell the American people that they actually give a shit about governing. So that's what they're going to do, right? No, that's not what they're going to do. Trump has nominated Markwayne Mullin. And if you don't know, he is the dumbest of dumb dog shit senators. He's from Oklahoma. This is the only guy to ever. Oh my God. 1 second. I got some videos for you. One second. He's literally the only guy to ever beat Tommy Tuberville in a booger picking contest. I mean, he is that dumb. This is Mark and impulse control. This guy makes Corey Lewandowski look like a Buddhist monk. This is Markwayne Mullin. This is how stupid he is. This is Markwayne Mullin in a congressional hearing, doing his job. Apparently his jacket got lost. I don't know why these small guys all think not wearing a jacket helps. It doesn't, but they think it does. But this is Markwayne Mullin challenging a labor leader that was in a hearing to a fight because he insulted the labor leader and the labor leader insulted him back.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. You want to run your mouth? We can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution, everybody?
No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Actively.
Oh, okay. Sit down, please.
All right.
Bernie Sanders, sit your ass down. Oh my God. Markwayne Mullin is about this big. That particular labor leader, he's about 6'4", about 275. Oh my God. He is a moron. He is, and he has no impulse control whatsoever. None whatsoever. And just to give you an idea, these are his political skills. Just a short clip here. So it's under 30 seconds of him talking about Iran. Remember, they're not supposed to call it a war. He's a senator. He is part of the Republican caucus. The Republican caucus, every one of them got the memo that says you can't call Iran a war, because if you call it a war, we have to vote on it, and then we become responsible for it. And we don't want to be responsible for this. We can't call it a war. That's the one thing you can't do. You can't call it a war. And this is Markwayne Mullin the first time he runs into a camera after the Iran war starts.
You'll concede this is war. You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War. Secretary Hicks.
We haven't declared
just
it.
now. You said this is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying, okay, well, that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly. But we're.
Let me back that up again. That was a misspoke. I mean, this is how dumb this guy is. That was a misspoke.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying, okay, well, that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they've declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly.
Totally not a war. I didn't call it a war. Well, you just did. We have it on camera. Well, that was a misspoke, but war is ugly. I mean, the one thing you're not supposed to do is call it a war, man. And the first thing he did was he walked up to the cameras and said, just called it a war. Then when tried to put the shit back on the horse, the reporter's like, well, look, you just called it a war. You said it was a war. That was a misspoke. That was a misspoke. Totally didn't mean to call it. They declared war on us. I didn't say we declared, but you know what? War is ugly. War is ugly. Oh my God. I shouldn't be laughing because this isn't funny. This is a guy that is going to head DHS. And when I say he's going to head DHS, look, before we even get here and the populists are like, oh, the Democrats sold us out and all this other shit. He is a sitting senator. They always defer to an administration to allow them to choose to run the departments that they want to run. That is standard. Even the Republicans do that. He is also a sitting senator, which means he's going to get more deference than most people that go into these hearings. So yeah, if you had to ask me to lay a bet, I'm betting you this dumbass gets confirmed. And I will tell you, as a Republican strategist, that's not a bad thing. As an American, it's shit. But we're not going to get anybody better. Trump wants somebody stupid in that role. If not this guy, it will be another dumbass. It will be another dumbass. This dumbass is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. He cannot stay on message. He has shitty impulse control. When he gets angry, he says and does stupid fucking things. Believe me, going into 2028, you want this idiot asshole being their mouthpiece. You do. And is that going to play into the calculation with Democrats? Well, yeah, they're not going to say that out loud, but I'll tell you. You're not going to get any Democratic senator or Chuck Schumer or anybody that's going to step up and say, we absolutely want this dumb motherfucker in front of a camera all the time. That's why we're going to confirm him, because he is a dumb motherfucker. We want him in front of the cameras. They're never going to say that. Never. They're going to say, we hate this guy and we're going to ask him shitty questions. And, we're going to rake him over the coals and we're going to this, that, and the other. And the American people will get mentioned in here several times. But in the end, they're probably going to confirm this fucker. They are. I'm just telling you now, so it's not a shock. And yes, they're confirming him because politically it is just for Democrats. The worst possible thing that could happen for Democrats going into the midterms or going into the 2028 elections is if the Trump administration pulled their heads out of their rectums and actually nominated somebody for this position that was both a conservative Republican and not fucking brain dead. Now, they would never want that because they're freaking criminals and they're idiots. And Trump wants to be able to just say, do this. He doesn't want somebody, he doesn't want a General Milley. He doesn't want somebody with competence that will say, no, we're not going to do that. That's fucking stupid. Let me tell you why. He does not want that. He doesn't want that. He wants Markwayne Mullins. He wants somebody that licks the taint. That's what he wants. And the Democrats are like, go ahead. And it isn't because they don't want to fight. It isn't because they don't care. It's because Markwayne Mullin going into the midterms is going to make sure Republicans get fucking decimated. Then you're going to see Markwayne Mullin in committee investigations run by Democrats, where they hold the subpoena power, where they determine when and what hearings we have. And they're going to beat the shit out of him like he's a cheap garage sale punching bag. They are. So no, let me tell you right now, the political operatives are telling every Democratic senator, do it. Do it. Do it. Make this guy head of DHS. Do it. Do it. Only give them enough votes. You know, we'll get Fetterman and a couple of the other, Tim Kaine and a couple of the other dumbasses to cross the line that already take the shit. We'll get a few of them to cross over and vote with the Republicans. So that's the Republicans putting him in power. You know, only 5 or 6 Democrats will cross over. But I promise you, the strategists are telling everyone, yes, do this. Make this fucker head of DHS. Please make this fucker head of DHS. Markwayne Mullin is worth $50 billion worth of donations. He is. And I don't mean like he'll make $50 billion worth of donations come in. I mean, he will make us not have to spend $50 billion on commercials. He will be a walking commercial. He just will. So, yeah, I mean, I told you, not everything I tell you is going to be good news today. And yeah, this is something else I love too, that so many people are ahead of this already. In a competitive time. See, Markwayne Mullin's not up for re-election. He's not. They're choosing him because he's up for re-election in Blood Red, Oklahoma, when he finally is up for re-election. They think this is a safe seat. Let me let you in on a little secret. When polling has shifted 20 points to Democrats, there are no safe seats. And what will happen here is he will go up for confirmation. He'll get confirmed. The governor of Oklahoma will appoint a temporary to last through November, but they will have to have a special election in November. So a seat that was not up for election, they'll get somebody temporary to fill the seat, and then come November, we will vote on that seat. And I promise you, this isn't going to be a walk. It'll be an uphill fight for us to flip that seat. But historically, it's happened. It's happened before. It has happened in the 80s. Blue seats that were just this blue flipped red. It happens. And believe me, Markwayne Mullin is going to be a big reason why. I'm telling you, this guy is dumb as dog shit. He is dumb as dog shit. So, yeah. I wonder if Corey Lewandowski would want to sleep with Markwayne Mullin. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, Tube Kurt. I can't tell you how many times I hear that. I can't tell you how many times I hear that. Stop insulting dumbasses. So yeah, that's not the only thing that's happened. That is not the only thing that's happened. And oh, by the way, everybody's like, well, she didn't get fired. She got another job. Let's talk about that. Yeah. There is no lateral from head of DHS. It is one of the cushiest jobs. It's why she was able to just buy a luxury jet. It is one of the cushiest, most sought after jobs in all of the United States government. There is no lateral. She is the person that just took a luxury home from the commandant of the Coast Guard and said, that's mine now. I get to live here. Oh, by the way, she's out. She's losing that too. She's losing the luxury travel. And she's losing one hell of a lot of money because remember, she just took $200 million. And how much of that do you think went home to her? You know, her bestie was in charge of doling that money out. Do you think maybe she got paid for that modeling gig? I don't know. But they call her now, she is an envoy. That is not a lateral, folks. It is not. That is not a lateral. Now she's going to get paid a fuck ton of money. She is, for being an envoy. I'll give you an idea. This is 1 second. This is Keith Kellogg. He was our envoy, special envoy to Ukraine. He was paid about $200,000 a year. So yeah, these gigs pay, and she will have some travel, but she's gonna, that Coast Guard pilot that didn't give her blankie. She got to fly on those planes again. She flies on whatever plane that they can come up with. She's got to suck the hind teat on Air Force planes. She's got to suck the hind tit on Coast Guard planes. Anything that she can get her hands on. And her gig, 1 second. Her gig as envoy to the Shield of Americas are just humiliating. On the 6th, should say today, they're holding a summit. They're holding a summit. Let me pull up who's attending. At Doral Golf Club. Yeah. She's got to go down to Doral Golf Club, Trump's shitty old golf club in Miami. And she's got to do sound bites for Shield of America and the Donroe Doctrine. I shit you not. I shit you not. That is the mission of the Shield of America, is the Donroe Doctrine. She's going to have to go to a camera and she's going to have to talk about the Donroe Doctrine. And she's going to have to do it in light of the stellar failures of the Iran war. Yeah, that's her job now. She was Fausted on Little Marco, because this was Little Marco's job to do the whole Shield of America thing, which is, it's just made up. It doesn't, it's not real. It's not real. That's why they had to make her a special envoy, because there really is no job there. There's no Shield of America. It's just a concept. And it was supposed to be Keg Breath and Little Marco's gig. Well, they have Fausted dumbass Kristi Noem on them, and she is their responsibility now. With no briefing, no background, no anything, as dumb as dog shit, she's going to go down to Miami and she's going to have a camera shoved in her face because everybody wants to see her. Now that she's been fired, everybody wants to see her. Boop, 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 boop. And she's got to talk about the Donroe Doctrine. And we're going to pay for her travel, and we're going to pay her $200,000 a year to do it. I hear you. Talk about Schadenfreude. Crafty Asgard. I hear you, brother. I hear you. I love that for Little Marco too. I love that for Little Marco too. I do. Oh man, I hope your coffee's good. I hope your coffee's good. I posted this. Jerry Ring, you said the U.S. Senator broke the arm of an anti-war protesting Marine. Yeah, I posted that on my social media. If you want to go to my Blue Sky or Threads, it will make you ill. You can hear it crack. Marine showed up to an event, and he do y'all want to see the video? Do y'all want to see the video? I've got the video here. Another Republican senator that does not have impulse control is Tim Sheehy. And he was at this event and he wanted to be a hero. He wanted to be a hero, but I'm not going to play it. It really will make turn your stomach. You can actually see the bone crack. You can hear it snap. I'm not gonna play it, but I will show you the link to my Threads where you can actually see the video and get. You can actually see the video. You can hear it crack. Go to my. If you go to realtexaspaul.com, my links are there. Blue Sky and what do you mean stolen valor? That makes no sense, ET. This was an actual Marine. This was an actual Marine. Was protesting the Iran war. And Tim Sheehy, the idiot, dives into the dog pile, grabs the guy by his legs. Well, while he's talking, he goes to grab the door. And when he does, his arm slips behind it. And his hand gets pinned in there because the cops and everybody are pulling him the other direction. So his hand is behind the door. Here's the door, right? And they're pulling him this direction. So his arm, which actually would be this way because his arm bends that way, he's stuck. He's fucking stuck. The officers know that, but that idiot Tim Sheehy has grabbed him by the legs and is leaning backward as hard as he can, trying to pull him out of the room. And the guy's arm just snaps. It is rough. It is rough to watch. But it just shows you these psychopathic, sociopathic, disgusting Republicans all live in these deluded, he had no business. There was security there. There were police there. If they wanted to remove him, they were removing him. Security was doing their job, but no, I want to be a hero. Ends up breaking the arm of a Marine who's speaking out on a war, that just, he has every right to speak out on. No kidding. Amen. We're not a liberal. Amen. Amen. Bill, appreciate you. I will always do what I can to keep the lights on. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Jeremy, thank you for always being here, brother. Mr. Knutson, the new DHS director is more, and he will, it'll be the end of this month. It'll be the end of this month when he becomes DHS director, if confirmed. Jenny, somebody at the White House teed up Senator Tillis and Kennedy, both ours, to go after Noem, probably Trump. She tried to blame Miller and Trump. Big mistake. No, actually, Tillis isn't running for re-election, and he is like an old school pre-MAGA Republican. So he has no fucks left to give, and he just went to town on her. It's really worth it. If things like that don't bore you to death, go watch Christy Noem's testimony. They beat her like a drum. They did. Both sides beat her like a drum. Jeff Schuler, I wonder how much is boxed to stand on. Oh, okay, I got it. I wonder how much his box to stand on is going to cost. Only thing that is scary is that right now terrorism is probably going to spike and smart people are needed instead we got Mullin. Yep. The governor will appoint a temporary replace. I hear you. It's going to open up. See, the governor will appoint a temporary replacement, and in November they'll hold a special election. Nope. Kate Marilite. Nope. Not a single bit of accountability. None. But look, folks, I don't want to leave you with anything negative, any negative feelings at all. This is going to happen. This is going to be a lot of footage out of these are the people that are going to show up in the Shield of America Summit today. You've got Kristi Noem, Javier Milei. He's always a freaking clown. You got the Chilean president, the Salvadoran president, the Ecuadorian president, Costa Rican president, Panamanian president, Paraguayan president, Honduran president, Dominican Republican president, Trinidad and Tobago's, I forget her title, and Guyana's president. They're all going to show up. There's going to be footage. There won't be much because the press doesn't really like to report on the Trump regime humiliating themselves, and they really don't like to report on a room full of brown people. They don't like to do that. So, you're going to have to root around, and we'll post it on our social media, but there's going to be plenty of humiliation to go around. There just is. There is nothing in the agenda besides talk about Donald Trump. So yeah, this is really the Don Rowe doctrine. You're going to hear some stupid ass comments come out of this, especially since, Christy Noem is dumb as a box of hair. She's got no briefing on any of this. And then she's got to, one day after being fired from her cushy job where she was, getting to run around and pretend to be a model, and she's going to be a wreck. This is going to be worth watching, folks. It's going to be worth watching. And I will tell you, they will continue to give nothing but ammunition. Nothing but ammunition. Andrew Paul Johnson, January 6th rioter, pardoned by Trump, sentenced to life in prison. Life in prison. Because after he was pardoned, he raped 2 young girls at the age of 12. I seem to remember some ads about Willie Horton. And I seem to remember Republicans, running ads anytime an immigrant commits a crime, especially against a little white girl. This is one of their own. Just got sentenced to life in prison. Maybe, just maybe, we Democrats need to hold this one up on social media a little bit. Maybe we need to make sure that people see this. This is who they are. This is the kind of people that Trump pardons. Fight fire with fire. Oh, by the way, he tried to quiet the victims because he believed he was going to get a huge amount of money from Trump. No shit. He thought because he was a pardoned J6er that there was going to be a check that was going to come. He was going to get millions of dollars because we dared to prosecute him for his crimes on January 6th. And he promised these girls, if you just be quiet, I'll share that money with you. I'm going to get a lot of money. Yeah, right. Checks in the mail. Checks in the mail. That was literally what he was saying to these girls. Because I know you're upset, but I promise there'll be a lot of money coming. A lot of money coming. But folks, I do want to leave you on a good note. I want to leave you heartened. I want to leave you understanding that what you're doing matters, and that us winning in the midterms matters, and that there is hope, there is a future. And I brought receipts. Folks, this is how it started. They were arrogant. They were just like, screw the law. We don't have to follow the law. We're not going to give you this. We're not, screw you. Pam Bondi shows up at a hearing, runs her mouth. Arrogant ass. The Dow's over 50,000. That's how it started. That's how it started. Then this happened. Couple Republicans crossed over the line. Not most of them, don't get me wrong. Republicans didn't do this. Democrats did this. But a couple Republicans crossed over the line and voted with the Democrats to subpoena Pam Bondi and make her come back and answer specific questions under oath about withholding Epstein documents. That's what happens when Democrats have power. That's a little taste for you of what it's going to look like when we put Democrats back in power, because when the threat of having to testify under oath showed up, this is what happened. When the subpoena showed up, the documents showed up. Yeah. Democrats did this. Now, don't get me wrong. The Republicans are going to make us demand each and every document. They're going to make us discover each and every document and then demand they be produced. They're not going to voluntarily allow people to know about these pedophiles. They're going to protect these pedophiles. But this is what it looks like when you give power to Democrats. This is what they do with it. This is what they do with it. And I mean, I know this hurts all of our retirements. I know this isn't anything to celebrate. But the world is reacting. The Dow is looking at this idiocy in Iran and realizing, okay, this isn't going to be quick. This isn't going to be over overnight. And the Dow's crashing. The Dow is in negative territory. Look, I'm going to go to year to date. I want you to see this. This is a talking point you're going to start hearing out of a lot of Democrats. The Dow is in negative territory for the year of 2026. It's down 1,100 points so far for the year. That's the kind of thing that makes big Republican donors pick up the phone and say, yep, you know what? It's okay. Fuck Donald Trump. He's an idiot. It's okay. But yeah, I mean, take heart that if we do what we're supposed to do, we don't allow people to fracture us. We don't allow the populists to run their bullshit. The Democrats are bad. And, oh, the Democrats better do this on Gaza and they better do AIPAC, man. You know, if we don't allow those purity tests and shit like that to get in our way, and we focus on taking power back first, this is what we get. This is what the second half of the Trump regime looks like. Absolute fear of subpoenas, absolute fear of enforcement, actual guardrails. It's what we get. It's what we get. Absolutely. Hold the line. Hold the line. Uncle Fatty's here with the perfect line. Hold the line. This is what we get. It's going to be okay. Again, I've shown you. I brought the receipts. I showed you your comments. You are the informed ones. You are the ones that are ahead of the conversation. You're the ones that see the big picture. You're the ones that have a job in this election. And it's worked. I mean, it is working. It hasn't worked yet. It'll work when we get through the elections. But you just saw what happened with Jasmine Crockett and her absolutely beautifully eloquent concession. Your demands that we don't allow our party to fracture, your demands that we put on our jerseys, that we wear the pins, that we say, yeah, buddy, 100%. We're ride or die Democrats. We don't shit on the brand. All of that is having an influence. All of that is having an influence. We're getting there. And I promise you, I will work to be better. I will work to improve. I will work to improve the show. I will improve to help get the message out. I will help to get you information as much as I can. I will do my job, but I need you to do your jobs too. I need you to do your jobs too. Yep. We got no King's marches coming up. See, Rich Lawton here. Boom. March 28th. No King's March. You knew as soon as the snow melted, that's what we were going to do. We were going to get right back at it. The fight is on, people. Well, look, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you found it useful. I hope you leave heartened and ready to march, ready to get it done, ready to go on the attack, ready to elect Democrats, because that's what it's going to take for your family and mine to return the United States to decency, to put the global order right again, to put the economies back on track. That's what it's going to take. We can do the work. We can get it done. On that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night.